Thank you very much. So we begin again. This is a case that should never have been brought. Every single major legal scholar, Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Andy McCarthy, Dershowitz, every single scholar, Mark Levin, the great Mark Levin, had a whole show on it last night, said that this is a disgraceful case. It's a disgrace to the New York state and city court system.
That was, of course, Donald Trump doing his regularly scheduled rant session to the press outside of the courtroom of his first criminal trial in Manhattan. And actually, I have some big news to discuss with you about the judge finally punishing Donald Trump and also threatening further punishment because of Trump's constant violations of his gag order, not respecting the process as it's playing out. So we'll get into a bunch of stuff. We'll talk about the latest Trump behavior in the courtroom and all of it. And for that, I, of course, need to bring in our legal expert, Aaron Parnas. So, Aaron, before we look at other clips of Trump and so much to go through about what has happened today at trial, give us a sense of this decision by the judge that is finally a little bit of punishment for Donald Trump.
Yeah, so for the first time in American history, a former or current president has officially been held in criminal contempt of court. This morning, Judge Merchan told Donald Trump, or really ruled on the prosecutor's request to find Donald Trump in contempt of court. Judge Merchan said that Donald Trump violated the gag order 9 separate times. Prosecutors asked for the judge to find 10 violations. The judge found 9 violations. This is still pretty significant. Judge Merchan found that Trump's Truth Social posts, as they related to Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, leading up to and during the criminal trial, violated the gag order that he imposed earlier last month. And as a result, Judge Merchan imposed the maximum fine allowed under the law of $1,000 per violation, so in this case, $9,000. And in his written order, Judge Merchan made clear that if Donald Trump were to continue to violate the gag order, that he may have to impose further pecuniary measures, including possible jail time. So this is a pretty bad day for Donald Trump because this is the first time really in history. I mean, he's been found in contempt in civil court, but this is the first time in criminal court.
Wow. And to me, the exciting part, obviously, you said $1,000 per violation is the maximum amount that Judge Merchan can rule, given that he wanted to do a financial punishment for now. And often you don't have billionaires in that seat. And so that's why that doesn't seem to be that significant for the time being. $9,000 for Trump shouldn't be too much. Who knows though? Things are sort of falling apart. But I think what is really exciting about this is the willingness to treat Trump like a criminal defendant and to punish him. And this is the first time that, as you said, he's ruling that Trump should be held in criminal contempt of court, which means if Trump keeps behaving like this, it could go further. And that is what is really significant about this, trying to send the message to Trump, I am going to treat you like the criminal defendant that you are. Even if you think... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree, Luke. And I think that Judge Merchan also agrees, because if you look at the written order that he released following his oral decision at the bench today, the written order specifically references the fact that the maximum allowed fine under the law is the $1,000 per violation. And Judge Merchan essentially alludes to the fact that with criminal defendants who are worth as much money as Donald Trump is, allegedly, the billions of dollars, this statute was not designed to punish individuals like Trump. It was designed to punish your average everyday American who $1,000 for a violation would cause a significant burden to them. Here, Judge Merchan even alluded to the fact that if he was able to, he would go over that $1,000 maximum and potentially fine Trump of up to $100,000 per violation, but he just can't do that because he's strapped by what the statute says. But because of that, in the event Donald Trump continues to test the court's patience and continues to violate the gag order, I wouldn't be surprised if Judge Merchan were to go forward and issue other measures to prohibit Trump from acting, whether it's jail time or increasing restrictions on his bond or whatever it may be. Judge Merchan is really not messing around here. And Donald Trump is really taking notice because just hours after Judge Merchan issued this order, all of the violations that Donald Trump made on Truth Social were deleted by the 2:15 deadline Mershon set. So if Trump was really trying to play games and mess around with Mershon, he would have kept those posts up, kind of like he did during the civil fraud trial with Engoron and Engoron's law clerk. That didn't happen here, and it's pretty clear because Trump is afraid of possible future consequences if he continues to test the judge's patience.
He got the message, at least when it comes to those posts in particular. And I don't think it's good. I don't think it helps to this early in the process create this much hostility between yourself and the judge overseeing your case. Now, I want to play this clip so we can respond to it from Trump.
So I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go into the icebox now and sit for about 8 hours or 9 hours. I'd much rather be in Georgia.
I'm going to pause your viewing of this video super quickly to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button, and right next to it is the join button. So you can become a member to get the daily bonus show by clicking that join button. Back to the video.
I'd much rather be in Florida. I'd much rather be in states that are in play, states that, I'd like to be able to campaign.
It's interesting. Obviously, yes, Trump being a criminal defendant means he has to be at his own trial. And so that does keep him from doing certain things. But Aaron, remind us why it's a little silly that Trump keeps complaining that he can't go campaign in other states.
Well, Luke, the day Trump had off that one time recently, he went golfing instead of campaigning at one of his golf clubs. So it's not like Donald Trump actually wants to be on the campaign trail. He'd rather be on the golf course than on the campaign trail. But even aside from that, he is a criminal defendant. And if you treat Trump like you would any average criminal defendant, he cannot just leave the courtroom whenever he pleases. He has to be at trial to face his accusers, whether on the witness stand, whether or elsewhere. So Donald Trump can't just pick and choose which days he wants to be in the courtroom. And honestly, the reason why this is typically done for criminal defendants is because you don't want criminal defendants to just flee when they face possible prosecution. Now, it doesn't look like Trump is going to flee anywhere, but he still has to be there. That is one of your obligations as a criminal defendant. And unlike a civil trial or just any other types of proceeding, a criminal trial is just completely different. And Donald Trump is really experiencing that for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know what this obsession is too with Trump and his allies in the media with the temperature of the courtroom. Trump has now started to pretend like it's so cruel how cold they keep it in the courtroom. And he alluded to it being a conspiracy to purposely make it more difficult to sit there, which two things on that. First of all, ridiculous that would be a concerted effort to make it more uncomfortable for Trump. I guess I have 3 points. Point two is Jesse Waters referred to Trump having to sit in his own criminal trial and the courtroom being cold and Trump not being able to go outside as cruel and unusual punishment. You're really entitled if that's what you think cruel and unusual punishment looks like. And number three, I feel like keeping it cold is the nicer thing to do because you can add layers. And in Trump's case, it wouldn't cause a little sweaty makeup mess if it were too hot in the other direction. Here's another clip of Trump.
And all of the cases are, frankly, all of them are. You probably saw last night that Jack Smith got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. It was released late last night, and it's a big story. The documents case is a hoax created by them for election interference purposes. And so that one looks like it's going asunder. A brilliant judge saw some facts, and I haven't read what was revealed yet. It just came out. But the document hoax is indeed a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. All of them are hoaxes, including the civil cases. They're controlled by the White House. They're controlled by Democrat judges and prosecutors that were put there specifically. They hate Trump. And the people.
It is so interesting. What a moment where a former president is standing in a courtroom because of his own criminal trial. But then he's spending some of the time talking to the press, which presumably would be talking about that criminal trial, talking about other criminal trials that are coming up and other criminal cases. Just not only is he currently in a criminal trial, he wants to use some of his time to talk about all of his other cases. That's how crazy things are for him. What else happened today of note during this trial?
Well, yeah, Luke, Donald Trump just couldn't stay awake in today's proceedings. Pool observers actually observed him falling asleep multiple times, putting his head down, keeping his eyes closed. This has become a common trend for Trump in this criminal trial. And it's funny, he's complaining about the cold air, but cold air is meant to keep you awake. And for some reason, it works for everyone in the courtroom, but it doesn't work for Donald Trump. He just seems completely disinterested with what's happening. And I personally don't think he's really going to become interested until he hears the words guilty at the end of the day.
Ooh, perfect ending. Aaron, where can people find you?
On all my social platforms, just at Aaron Parnas.